We are back today with some great stuff on the Aprilia build. And no, this is actually not the bike I'm building now. This is another bike, but it's the same, not the same model, but it's the same bike. It's got the newer engine. And that's actually my frame, which doesn't look that good as this one. But this is also one of the reasons why you didn't see much progress on the Aprilia RS 125 projects. And I also have tons of other bikes laying around. So now I just had the self-discipline to actually go in and do some dirty work. In the meanwhile, I recovered the forks because they were quite dirty and greasy, and I cleaned them all up and rebuilt them with some new fork oil, and I also spray painted some other parts like this one here, so just we can continue with the project. Then what else has happened? I got some new tires for the bike, and we are using really small tires. I guess it's a 120 or a 130 in the back, just to make sure we have the least mass we can get on this bike, and also not much drag on and resistance. And now let's come to the good stuff. We have some parts, or actually pretty much all of the parts in here, which we're going to need for the rebuild. And I'm just going to unbox them to show you what we got here. And I can assure you there is going to be a really nice surprise in here. So yeah, have fun with that. Now let's start off with the first one. A brand new crankshaft for the engine. This is a Rotax 123 specific crankshaft. So it's not an OEM one, but it's a replica, I guess, and I used them before with really good results. Then of course we have a new battery for the bike. Nothing to write home about, just a normal shell battery. We've got some new coolant hoses, engine seals, engine gaskets. We've got a new throttle cable because the old one snapped off right here. Maybe I could just reuse this part or just use the new one. Then we got some screws and bolts and stuff for the fairings. We come to the good stuff. We've got some reed valves. Let's see what they can do for us here. We got braided brake lines for the front, some oil hoses, some rubber grommets for the power valve, I guess. Then we have a new rear brakes master cylinder. I just need this part, but I could never find it somewhere, so I just ordered this whole set here. So maybe we're gonna use this one or the old one, I'm not sure yet, so we're gonna find out. Then we have all the wheel bearings and seals for the wheels, of course. We've got some new grips, some screws and stuff for the linkage and brake discs and so on, hose clamps for the coolant hoses, some brake rebuild kits, exhaust gasket. Got some brake pads for the back, I guess, and for the front ones they will arrive shortly. Then, since we need to redo the exhaust, let's take some new some bolts for the engine cases. Then we've got a performance snorkel for the airbox, rear caliper rebuild kit. Then we have a lot of jets and needles and stuff to play around with to figure out which setting will be the best. Carb rebuild kit. We've got 4 spark plugs just to make sure we can burn through 3 of them and have 1 left. And now I thought about minimizing weight and also resistance in the drive chain. So that's why I opted to go for a 420 chain instead of a 520 chain. So this one is really much smaller than the original one. Here we have the original chain for comparison. As you can see, it's quite a bit smaller. We have a custom sprocket. It's an aluminum sprocket, which is, I guess, for the 1 tooth. And now this one is also a special sprocket for the front. This is actually a 21 tooth sprocket instead of the 16 or 17 you can get normally. So it's much larger, and it should help us to get to that 200 kilometers an hour a bit better. And now this is the moment you've been all waiting for. I got an Italkit cylinder kit. And now it's the surprise. I've got all the experts will already spot what is in here. We've got this bam! We've got the 140 kit from Italkit, and actually this one is a version which has been refined by a third party, and they just grinded off some parts here. You can maybe see it in the insides here. You can see there are some traces where they used a Dremel to improve the airflow here, and I guess they also improved the outlet ports here a bit to make the airflow smoother. With the piston, of course, so that kit is ready to be installed, and I'm looking forward to do that. And last but not least, of course, we do have an Aprilia racing keychain, so I guess this is necessary to reach our goal. Yeah, that's it. Let me know in the comments if you think we can already get to 200 kilometers an hour with these parts, and we're gonna find out soon. But first we need to build up the frame and the whole chassis. I guess we're gonna do the same thing as here. We're gonna build up a rolling chassis and then add the engine to it. So there's a bit of work in front of us, but we already have some stuff inside. And maybe also to show you, I guess it's really packed up here. We also spray painted the exhaust now, so it's looking much better. And most of the parts are now ready for assembly. I cleaned up all that stuff, but we still need to rebuild the carburetor, the oil pump, and put everything together. Then we need to rebuild the brakes, the engine, and whatnot. So it's a never-ending story, but at least we are one step further. Have fun with the process.